How did a shoemaker buy bread? How did a farmer purchase a sword? And most importantly, how did the Lydians solve this problem? If you're ready, we're taking a journey back in time. Today I'm going to share with you the story of perhaps one of the most important inventions in human history. No, not the wheel, not fire, not even writing. What we're talking about today is something we all use every single day but never think about where it came from. Money. Those metal pieces in your wallet right now. The digital numbers on your phone, even your credit card. The story of all of them started exactly 2,700 years ago, in the middle of Anatolia, in a kingdom called Lydia. And trust me, this story isn't just about stamping a piece of metal. This is the story of how humanity transformed economically, socially, and culturally. So, how did people live before money was invented? Lydia, in the 7th century BC, was a wealthy civilization sitting right in the middle of major trade routes between East and West. It was established in a region covering what we now know as Izmir, Manisa, and Uşak in modern-day Turkey, but trade was conducted through a primitive system called barter, basically, swapping goods. And this system sucked. Seriously sucked. Now picture yourself as a shoe seller. You've got these amazing handmade shoes, but you're starving, you need wheat. You find the wheat producer and say, "Give me wheat, I'll give you shoes." But the guy doesn't need shoes. He just bought new shoes. He wants a sword now. So what are you gonna do? First, you'll take the shoes to the sword maker. He'll give you a sword. Then you'll take that sword to the wheat producer and get wheat. But wait, does the sword maker even need shoes? Maybe he wants something else too. Economists call this the double coincidence of wants problem, meaning you need to find someone who both has what you want and wants what you have. And this incredibly limited the speed, volume, and variety of trade. The invention of money happened when the Lydians combined two unique advantages, natural wealth and state guarantee. A. Raw material, Electrum, the Pactolus River, flowing near Lydia's capital city of Sardis, naturally carried Electrum, a spontaneous alloy of gold and silver. So there was literally gold flowing in the river. Literally. This alloy typically had about 70% gold and 30% silver, but the ratios in nature could vary. And here's where there was a problem. Every piece of Electrum was slightly different. Some had more gold, some had more silver. But the Lydians were smart, really smart. B. Standardization and stamping, minting. Here's what the kingdom of Lydia did. They melted down this valuable Electrum and shaped it into small standard weight nuggets or bean-shaped pieces. Think about it, little metal pieces, each one the same weight. But here's where the genius really comes in. The critical step was stamping the royal seal onto these pieces. Electrum ingots were placed in iron or bronze molds. They were struck with hammers, minted, to imprint the official stamp. And what did this stamp mean? This stamp said, "I, the King of Lydia, guarantee the weight of this money and the ratio of precious metal in it." If I'm lying, off with my head. Do you see now what a revolutionary idea this was? Now merchants could trust the value of that coin just by looking at the official stamp on it, instead of having to weigh the metal or check its purity with every transaction. This massively increased reliability and transaction speed. Thus, in the late 7th century BC, as the historian Herodotus noted, the Lydians became the first civilization to invent metal coinage. And I want to say this here. This wasn't just a technical invention. This was a trust system. State authority was entering the economy in this way for the first time. It was saying, "I'm the guarantor. Trust this money." C. Financial revolution and metal standard under Croesus. The most important step in the evolution of metal currency was taken during the reign of King Croesus. And this guy became one of history's most famous wealthy people. We even say rich as Croesus today, right? Under Croesus's rule, 560-546 BC, They switched to a dual metal standard to eliminate the inconsistency in Electrum's natural gold and silver ratios. What does this mean? For the first time, coins were minted separately in pure gold and pure silver. This eliminated the uncertainty of the money's value by fixing its purity. No more arguing, is this Electrum, is it 60% gold or 80% gold? This is pure gold, this is pure silver. Clear. The pure gold coins minted during this period were called Croecids. On the front of the coins were figures of a lion and bull head facing each other, symbolizing the kingdom's power. And this design choice wasn't random. The lion represented strength, the bull represented prosperity. So the message was, this is the money of a powerful and wealthy kingdom. This system gained acceptance throughout Mediterranean trade, solidifying Lydia's economic supremacy. D. About the number of coins minted. Now you're probably wondering, so how many coins did they mint? Here's the truth. We don't know. And we'll never know exactly. Why? Because ancient mints didn't keep detailed and comprehensive production records like we do today. The coins that were minted were melted down over time, lost, or scattered into the ground. But here's what we do know. Numismatic research shows that even in a single hoard found in archaeological excavations, thousands of coins can be discovered. So the economic scale Lydia reached during Croesus's time was incredibly massive. Think about it. In the 6th century BC, a kingdom minting thousands of coins. That means industrial-scale production, and this shows us just how organized and powerful a state Lydia was. So how did this invention change the world? Now we're going to see its real impact. The effects of money's invention on the Lydian kingdom and its surroundings were felt immediately in the first stage and spread rapidly in a short time. And we can examine these effects under 3 main headings. Trade and economy accelerated. Transaction ease. The shoe seller no longer had to search for a wheat buyer first. He sold the shoes for money, and with that money he could buy wheat or anything else whenever he wanted, from wherever he wanted. Think about what a huge change this was. What used to be a barter chain that maybe took weeks was now completed in minutes. Market expansion. Trade now surpassed local barter boundaries. Lydian money rapidly spread to the Ionian city-states in the Aegean and other trade centers. A merchant in Ephesus could buy goods from Sardis with Lydian money. A farmer in Miletus could purchase fish from Phocaea with Lydian money. The economy literally exploded. Trade volume multiplied many times over, because now everyone could trade with everyone. State administration and power transformed tax and salary convenience. The state could now collect taxes and pay military wages with standardized coins. This made bureaucratic procedures and keeping financial records incredibly easier. Think about it. Before, when collecting taxes, you'd take 2 sacks of wheat from one person, a sheep from another, 5 meters of fabric from someone else. How are you going to store these? How are you going to keep records? What happens if the sheep dies? What if the wheat rots? But with money, everything's easy. Everything's numerical. Everything's recorded. It's also thought that one of money's first purposes was to pay salaries to hired soldiers. And this makes sense. Because if a soldier is going to fight in your army, you need to make regular, reliable payments to him. And money made this possible. Political symbolism. Minting money became a symbol of sovereignty and power. The royal lar emblem on the coin, lion bull, proclaimed Lydia's power and stability to the commercial world. So every coin was actually a propaganda tool. It sent the message, I am the king of Lydia, I am so powerful, I mint my own money. 3. Wealth and financial concepts changed capital accumulation. A person who overproduced or did successful trade could now accumulate small, reliable metal coins, money, whose value wouldn't easily deteriorate, instead of stockpiling goods. This is the beginning of the modern concept of savings and capital accumulation. Being wealthy used to mean having lots of wheat in your barn or lots of sheep in your stable. But these goods could spoil, die, or be stolen. But money? Money was small, easy to hide, didn't spoil. Croesus's wealth. King Croesus saw the greatest benefit of this system. Thanks to the commercial prosperity and efficient use of resources that the system provided, his name, Croesus, has been synonymous with extraordinary wealth to this day. And here's an interesting point. Croesus's wealth didn't just come from gold mines. The real wealth came from the economic growth created by the money system, because as the economy grew, taxes increased. As trade increased, state revenue increased. But money didn't just stay in Lydia. How did it spread to the world? You're about to see. The Lydians introduced money to the world, not through force or military conquest, but through practicality and reliability. And this is a really important point. Nobody forced anyone to use this money. Money spread on its own, because it was so practical, so useful, that everyone wanted to use it. The nearest neighbors, Ionian city-states and the Aegean, the beginning of spread. The Ionian city-states like Ephesus, Miletus, Phocaea, and Smyrna, Izmir, which were Lydia's neighbors and played an active role in maritime trade, were the first to encounter money. Necessity. Lydia controlled the caravan routes coming from inland Anatolia. For Ionian merchants to trade with Lydia, to buy goods from them, or to pay debts to them, they had to accept and use Lydian money, first Electrum, then pure gold and silver. As they saw how much money simplified trade, they quickly started establishing their own mints. They said, "Let's do this too." And they did. B. Trade routes and persuasive power. Main route. The great overland trade routes starting from Lydia extended to inland Anatolia and Mesopotamia, and from there by sea through the Aegean coast to the Mediterranean. Lydian merchants took coins with them everywhere they went. Reliability. The Croecids, minted from pure gold and silver during Croesus's time, were extremely attractive to foreign merchants because of their high and guaranteed precious metal content. These coins were a far more reliable and convenient payment method than barter goods or ingot metals whose weight constantly varied. Think about it. An Egyptian merchant comes to Lydia. He's got gold ingots. But shopping with gold ingots is hard. You have to weigh them every time, check their purity, maybe cut them into smaller pieces. But Lydian money? Take, count, give. Fast, easy, reliable. Money's functions. Lydian money went beyond being just a medium of exchange and became a reserve currency and value standard in international trade. So now when people asked, "How much is this?" they were asking, "How many Lydian coins?" C. Imitation and adoption. Rapid adaptation. The great convenience and economic benefits that money provided were quickly understood. The money system spread from the Aegean to Greece, and from there to the Greek colonies in Italy and Sicily. Chain reaction. Each new region started minting local coins bearing their own political symbols, imitating Lydia's basic standard, coins being round, having weight and stamp. Athens minted its own money with the Athenian owl. Corinth minted its own money with Pegasus. Macedon minted its own money with Alexander the Great's head. Thus, money transformed from a small Lydian invention into a global financial instrument that took the entire Mediterranean basin under its influence. And think about this here. Today, every country has its own money. Dollar, euro, yen, lira. They're all heirs to that first Lydian coin. A system that started 2,700 years ago is still going. But money didn't just change the economy. It changed society, culture, even ways of thinking. The Lydians, by combining a technical solution, Electrum with political authority, state seal, gifted humanity an invention that formed the foundation of the modern economy, simplified complex trade, and opened the door to massive economic growth. This invention also permanently changed social structure, cultural development, family and professional dynamics, and the definition of political power. And I can't help but think about this. 2,700 years ago, in the middle of Anatolia, a few smart people came together and said, "We're going to solve this barter system." And they did. And that solution is still being used today. The money in your pocket right now, the numbers in your account, the limit on your credit card, they're all heirs to that first Lydian coin. And this shows me something. Good ideas never die. Good ideas spread, evolve, and transform, but they never disappear. The money in your pocket right now, the numbers in your account, the limit on your credit card, they're all heirs to that first Lydian coin. And this shows me something. Good ideas never die. Good ideas spread, evolve, and transform, but they never disappear. If this story gave you a new perspective on money, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's keep exploring these incredible historical stories together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I like subscribing to the channel. May it add value to your money.